Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being ever so patient with our technical difficulties. This is one of my favorite topics, natural and permanent weight loss solutions. I want to welcome you to tonight's presentation because I know that this is a concern for many, many people, and I am motivated to help you to achieve your health goals, whatever those may be, and your aspirations. I am Dr. Michelle Gamble. The information presented in this workshop is not intended to replace a one-on-one relationship with a qualified medical professional. This information is intended as a sharing of my knowledge and information from research that I've done. I encourage you to make your own healthcare decisions based on your research and in partnership with your qualified healthcare team. You may ask yourself, why am I so passionate about teaching you and others how to heal yourselves? Because the reality is, I truly believe that most people want to be able to heal themselves. And unfortunately, there's so many conflicting ideas and bits of information out there, which confuses you sometimes, frustrates you sometimes, and inevitably leads to a long, winding road of not feeling too successful. I am an integrative wellness mentor. My focus is helping people to approach health and wellness from a holistic perspective, body, mind, heart, and soul. In particular, I help caregivers, and most of us are caregivers, even if it's just for your pet. The reason why I love working with caregivers is because they have hearts that are constantly giving. And unfortunately, sometimes they're giving so much that they unconsciously sacrifice their own personal health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and or spiritually, to the point of exhaustion. And I can totally relate to that because I have been in that position. That is why I teach these strong, savvy, selfless people how to heal themselves so that they can better serve the ones that they love, but from a position that is of empowerment, joy, health, and wealth. Well, let's jump right into our topic for today, sustainable weight loss. The reason why I'm talking about sustainable weight loss is because many of the methodologies that you have out there will allow you to lose weight quickly. However, they are either very unhealthy or unnatural, and ultimately, most of them are unsustainable. The statistics are not very encouraging. The statistics tell us that more than 90% of the people who actually lose weight in some type of program will end up not only gaining the weight back, but in many cases, gaining even more weight than what they originally were. What I want you to think about is that when we consider weight loss, it's not really about weight loss. It is more about maintaining health, because when you are able to shift yourself into optimal health, your body automatically, almost miraculously, finds its perfect weight. And as long as you are focusing on optimizing your health and wellness, you will not only ensure that your weight loss is healthy and that it is appropriate, you will also ensure that you are sustaining your weight loss, because you're not going to be overeating or undereating. You're not going to be obsessing over eating, and you're not going to have an experience where it is simply a matter that you're so hyper focused on weight that you lose sight of what the overall goal is, which in actuality is to feel healthy and vibrant, alive, prosperous, and just unstoppable. So now let's really think about shifting our focus, because as I said to you, less than 10 to 20% of people who lose weight will actually end up keeping off the weight in the long run. And the reason why is because they're not focusing on optimizing their health. You know, in our society, we are so hyper-focused on quote unquote weight loss, you know, because we think that we need to look a certain way and we need to look like a certain size, we need to look at a certain proportions, and that really gets us into a detrimental loop because we are hyper-focused on someone else's ideal of perfection. What I want to share with you tonight is about how to cultivate balance in your life, not only with regards to your weight, but also with regards to the underlying root causes of why your weight is out of balance. Some of those root causes are going to be with regards to how you balance your overall life. Balance means sustaining a healthy, achievable, sustainable lifestyle that not only promotes proper weight loss, but ultimately promotes overall health and well-being. So let's talk about balance. Take a moment to think about your day today. I want you to think about how much sleep did you have last night? I want you to think for a moment about when you woke up, where was your mindset? I want you to think about for a moment as you went through your day, where was your heart? How did you feel as you went through your day, eating at different points in the day? How did you feel when you were eating? Did you feel alive and vibrant? Did you feel energized? Did you feel that what you were eating was helping to bring yourself into balance? Do you feel that the sleep that you obtained last night was sufficient to bring you into balance? Do you feel that the thoughts that you woke up with this morning were able to bring you into balance? Do you feel that the emotions that you were cultivating in your heart throughout the day were going to be able to bring you into balance? I want you to just take a moment to be honest with yourself. Was your movement and activity bringing you into balance? And this is not about being judgmental of yourself or being hard on yourself. This is just about taking a moment to reflect. Many times we're so caught up in the rush of everyday life that we are not really aware of these things and the effect that they have upon us. We don't even realize sometimes when different situations are pulling us out of balance. And what I want us to focus on today is how we can form new habits, new lifestyle approaches to bring us into balance and subsequently be able to attain our health and wellness goal, which in this case is primarily to maintain optimal weight. So now, why do people who lose weight initially regain their weight? Well, there are a lot of different factors. One factor is that many people who initially lose their weight, it's because they've undergone a very restrictive diet that in all reality cannot be sustained over a long period of time. As much as we really try our best to discipline ourselves with such restrictive diets, nature has it that we are not supposed to be in certain extreme caloric restriction for too long of a period. And not only does this caloric restriction wreak havoc on your mindset, more importantly, these types of extreme caloric restrictions start to wreak havoc on your overall metabolism, on your hormones, and on your appetite. Because after a while, the body starts to resist and say, nope, enough of this. And you will have created a certain hormonal pattern of deprivation. You will have created a certain metabolic pattern of deprivation, so that when you start to do what is almost inevitable, which is to increase your intake of calories, your body's going to say, I better hold on to everything because I don't know when he or she is going to start, trying to starve us again. The other reason why a lot of people regain their weight is because they have the wrong mindset. They keep on thinking that your meal plan, the way you choose to nourish yourself through foods, is a matter of looking for a quick fix. They're so caught up in this idea of a quote unquote diet, as opposed to looking at an overall shift in lifestyle, a shift in your mindset that isn't one that is fixated on weight and fixated on how much is this food going to increase or decrease my weight, but rather to look at life from a balancing perspective and to start to cultivate a lifestyle that promotes health and wellness. Another reason why people regain their weight is because they've gotten caught up into the idea of habits versus rules. So they think that eating should be about rules, when in reality, eating is about developing a healthy habit to pursue that which is going to promote our overall health and well-being, and being flexible within the parameters of that which is nutritious. Restrictions and regulations of diets, not only are they unnecessary, but ultimately they are unproductive. Let's talk about why some people don't succeed at weight loss. Because a lot of these weight loss programs are actually designed to keep you coming back. They're designed with certain memberships programs in place. They're designed to make you dependent upon certain packaged foods or dependent upon a certain person who's going to continuously tell you exactly what to eat, as opposed to nurturing within you and educating within you the capacity to be able to create your own health and wellness nutritional program. Another reason is that, as I said, not only are these programs based on things like meal replacements and shakes and bars and calorie counting systems, which ultimately are a matter of factoring into some type of monetary paradigm, they're also unsustainable over time because you keep on putting the weight back on again. And more importantly, these programs are not addressing the root cause of why you put on the weight in the first place. What are some of these root causes? Some of them, to be quite frank, are poor eating habits, such as eating too late, such as eating too many times in the day. Do you realize that one of the easiest ways to start to lose weight is to actually cut out your snacks? We have gotten to be a society that believes in the necessity of snacks. And in reality, snacks are a very recent construct. If you go back to the 1950s and earlier, people did not eat snacks. People had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that was it. Another poor eating habit that many of us get into is eating late at night. Again, that not only skews or causes imbalances within your hormonal system, but it also causes imbalances within your digestive system, which ultimately leads to weight increase. Another reason why many of these programs are not successful is because you're so busy counting calories that you start to lose muscle mass. And the reality is that you need muscle mass in order to burn fat. Another reason is that most people are not addressing their underlying nutritional deficiencies. You may have vitamin deficiencies. You may have omega fatty acid deficiencies. Yes, omega fatty acid deficiencies. There's so many of the clients that I work with that are so fat paranoid that they don't realize that you need healthy fats in order to burn the not so healthy fats. And when you create that imbalance of essential fatty acids in the body, that results in not only weight gain, but it also results in hormonal imbalances, which once again contributes to your weight gain. A lot of people have functional health problems such as digestion or hypothyroidism, which has not been identified. And so these are the people who can practically starve themselves to death. And yet they cannot lose the weight because these underlying functional issues have not been addressed. If your thyroid is off balance, or if your digestion is not optimized, you're basically setting yourself up for failure, no matter how much you starve yourself. Then there are some people that are dealing with food intolerances and sensitivities. And because of these food intolerances or sensitivities, you trigger an immune response within the body, which increases the inflammation in the body, and this inflammation increases the weight accumulation in the body. And until you address these food sensitivities or these food intolerances, the inflammation can't go away, and subsequently, the fat cannot go away. And last but not least, a major contributing factor is insulin resistance, something that is not really understood by most people. A lot of people, you will notice, have the development of extra fatty mass around the abdominal region. They may be slender in the upper body, even slender in the legs, but they have what we refer to down south as bear belly. And as I tell people all the time, ain't no bear up in that belly. In fact, this is probably one of the most deadly accumulations of fat that you can have in the body around the abdominal region, because it is indicative of what we call insulin resistance. And when you develop insulin resistance, you're one step away from developing diabetes and a whole host of other metabolic situations. Now, when we look at insulin resistance, really and truly, we're talking about the inflammation that occurs around the cell, the deficiency of certain nutrients, the hormonal shifts that are not in sync with the way they're supposed to be. And for most people, insulin resistance is also related to the types of food that we are taking into our bodies, which tend to be high in terms of carbohydrates and sugars. What's even worse is that the standard of care in our nation with diabetes is one of management, as opposed to really helping people to drill down and address the underlying factors. Subsequently, even though prediabetes is reversible, and indeed type 2 diabetes is reversible, most people are simply managing the disease state, and because they're not addressing the underlying issues, it starts to contribute to other realities such as imbalances in weight. The reality is that our standard of care typically waits for you to become diabetic, and at that point, medication is given just to keep the blood sugar under a certain level, but it does not stop the progression of the underlying metabolic breakdowns such as insulin resistance, and subsequently, other complications evolve over time, such as resistance to weight loss. So now let's talk about the good stuff. How can we start to really promote healthy, sustainable weight loss? Well, as I said, one of the first things to do is to stop stacking up all of the unhealthy snacks in your cupboard. You know, the bags of chips, the crackers, the cookies, and things of that nature. If you are going to snack, consider shifting your snack to something that is more healthful, something that is packed with nutrition, such as wonderful nuts and seeds, or things like celery and carrot sticks. And now the thing is, keep in mind, where people usually pack a wallop of calories and unhealthy stuff is when they start putting in the dips, right? So, you know, they may have this wonderful array of carrot sticks and broccoli and celery sticks, and then they put in that dip, and the dip may have denatured fats in them. The dip may have all types of chemicals in them, which contribute to the hormonal imbalance, unfortunately. So if you're going to dip, consider creating your own healthier versions of dipping. A big one, again, if you want a quickie way of losing some weight, think of not only limiting your sugar intake, but consider taking away any type of additional sugar that you may be adding to your food. Sugar, unfortunately, is almost insidious in our community. It is practically in every packaged food that you can consider. Even the most unlikely of suspects has sugar. In the early 1900s, the average sugar intake by us as Americans was about 5 pounds per person annually. More recently, by around 2010, do you have any idea of how much the average sugar consumption was? Hold on to your pants. 150 pounds per person per year. I know, that just blows my mind. And the thing is that not only is sugar a source of unwanted calories, they're empty calories. And if they were empty calories, it wouldn't be so bad. But in addition to that, your body starts to leach the minerals out of your bones, out of your muscles, out of your tissues to be able to properly neutralize the negative acidic effect of the sugar and to properly metabolize the sugar. So whatever chromium you have in your body that is supposed to help you in terms of being healthy and regulating your hormonal balance is now going to be utilized for what? Trying to get this excess sugar out of your system. The next thing to consider is our toxic exposure. And this is very, very key. I know that sometimes you may feel overwhelmed by this whole concept of toxic exposure, and you may say, well, you know, Michelle, reality, look, we're going to die of something, so what the heck? And we may not realize exactly why I'm saying that toxic exposure is tied directly to weight loss. The reason why is because many of these toxins act as pseudo hormones in the body, as xenoestrogens in the body, and create imbalances within your hormonal system. And these are the imbalances that work against you. Remember I told you about the people who are practically starving themselves to death? But guess what? Their hormones are not balanced. Their thyroid is not balanced. And so they cannot lose the weight. They cannot maintain their ideal weight. And this is the reason why for many people, because of their toxic exposure. And when I say toxic exposure, I'm talking about everything from your deodorant to your lipstick for the ladies, to those wonderful lotions and things that you may put on your body. Anything that has a fragrance has toxins that mimic the hormones in the body, that start to go into the receptor sites on your cells where your hormones are supposed to go to activate the proper metabolic functions in the body. These chemicals go and block those receptor sites, preventing your hormones from operating properly. And then, as if that were not enough, these toxins start to create inflammation on a cellular level. And that inflammation also starts to disrupt the hormonal receptors on the individual cells. That is why I encourage you to think about using alternative non-toxic materials, to think about getting a water filtration system instead of drinking from those plastic bottles where you're leaching the estrogens out of the plastic, to consider putting a filter in your home to clear the air. I know you think that it seems more toxic outside, but studies are actually showing us that the air inside our house is more toxic than the air outside of our house. Crazy, isn't it? Now, what do we eat to help us to promote the fat burning in our bodies? Let's start getting some more protein. Do you realize you can get protein from things like broccoli? And of course, there are different types of protein powders and nuts and seeds. And these proteins are essential because of the amino acids that help you to not only break down your foods with digestion, but also to increase your metabolism and give you a fuller sense of being satiated, especially your nuts and seeds that also have the healthy fats in them. That too will help you to cut down on your food cravings. Many times we eat these breakfasts that are high in carbohydrates, all of these cereals and even oatmeal. I know that we're touting oatmeal as a wonderful heart healthy food, but the reality is that eating just a bowl of oatmeal is going to spike your blood sugar. You need to balance that with some healthy fats and some healthy proteins so that you create the proper hormonal balance within your body, and you're not shooting your blood sugar up and then having it drop down later on in the day. Consider if you're going to eat oatmeal, don't eat the oatmeal just with water. Eat the oatmeal with some type of nut milk, such as cashew milk, almond milk, soy milk, rice milk, something that has that extra protein in it. And then add some chia seeds or some flax seeds to give you those wonderful fatty acids, those wonderful omega fatty acids, omega 3s and omega 6s. And not only are they helping to balance the constituents of the food, they're also going to help you to feel more satiated so that you're not starting to crave food mid-morning. When you have a balanced breakfast such as this, you're not going to feel hungry until lunchtime, trust me. The next thing is to focus on single ingredient whole foods, the actual foods as close to nature as possible. Remember the old saying, shop on the sides of the grocery store. Go through all of the fresh produce as opposed to going to the middle of the store where you have all of these packaged goods that are very deficient in nutrients. They're convenient. I can't argue with you on that point. However, they don't have the same concentration and vitality of nutrition. These are vital foods. Look at them. They're just beautiful. The color, just the color itself tells you how vital they are. And now my favorite one, water. Again, if you don't do anything else that I'm suggesting, just start with the water. Increasing your water intake is one of the best ways to not only cut down on your craving for food, but also to hydrate all of your cells to make your metabolism improve significantly. Do you realize that most of the times when you feel that hunger pang within your body, you're actually thirsty? And if you would take a moment to just drink a glass of water, you might find yourself saying, I'm not even that hungry after all. This is one of the techniques that I teach my students all the time. Before you start eating, drink a glass of water so that you start to not only on a logistical side, fill up your stomach so that it'll cut down on how much food that you're eating, but you're also going to be able to address the chronic dehydration that most of us are experiencing in this country. And you're going to be able to replace calorie-laden drinks with life-giving water that not only helps you to avoid the excess calories, but more importantly, help to promote cleansing and detoxification, hydration, and improvement of your metabolic functioning. More fruits and vegetables. Glory, glory, glory. Look at how beautiful that is, ladies and gents. Like I said, the vibrancy. And as you look at these colors, I want you to realize that each of these colors is representative of different types of nutrients and phytonutrients that are essential to your body's health and well-being. Not only are they able to sustain you through the potency of the vitamins, they're also able to give you essential minerals that are missing from your complex carbohydrates that people are eating, in terms of their fries and their burgers and all those types of things. These foods additionally give you lots of what? Water. So they are packed with nutrition to be able to promote your health and wellness. And last but not least, These fruits and vegetables have fiber, and fiber is your friend because fiber not only cuts down on how much you crave in terms of food by filling you up, fiber also enables you to clean the digestive tract efficiently. And last but not least, fiber helps to slow down the metabolism of the sugars and the carbohydrates that are in your foods so that you're not experiencing these peaks and valleys when it comes to your blood sugar regulation. Now comes the lifestyle stuff, because many people don't realize your sleep has a tremendous impact on your hormonal balance. And remember what I said, hormonal imbalance is at the root of many people's struggle to try and lose weight. Do you realize that every time you sleep, you're helping your body to detoxify? You're helping your body to reset your hormonal cycles. You're helping your body to repair and rebuild. You're helping your body to de-stress. Speaking of which, stress and food. One of the ways to help you to maintain your weight loss is to do that exercise that I suggested in the beginning. To take a moment to think about not only how much sleep did you have the night before, think about what thoughts are you generating and holding on to. Think about what emotions are filling your heart. All of these cause stress to your body, mind, heart, and soul. And many of us engage in what we call stressful eating. This stressful eating, not only does it promote the yucky stuff, because when you're stressed out and you eat, most likely you're not reaching for a carrot stick. You're reaching for what we call the comfort foods. And the comfort foods are high in calories and low in nutrition, which loops you into this unending spiral downward of low nutrition, low nutrients, lots of calories, promote the weight. One of the ways in which you can restart, or should I say, rebalance your hormonal systems and your digestive system is through the practice of what we refer to as intermittent fasting. Fasting can be traced back to countless religious traditions. What I'm referring to today is for you to start with just fasting from, say, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. to think of fasting for 12 hours after your last meal. And I encourage you to make your cutoff time for eating 3 hours prior to going to sleep. And to really encourage you to expand that fasting time for 12 hours overnight to give your body a break from having to constantly break down different types of food. And like I said, to allow your body to reset your hormonal system. Do you realize that when you fast, you actually promote the production of what we call growth hormones in the body? And those growth hormones help you to do what? Build wonderful muscle mass and ultimately to burn calories more efficiently. You can also incorporate the concept of intermittent fasting by fasting between meals. Remember I said, one of the most efficient ways of losing weight is to create a lifestyle of going back to the good old days when we had basically 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then the next step is to consider other forms of more extended fasting where you're really going to start to see a difference. But start off with that right now, you know? Really ensure that you fast overnight for 12 hours and consider fasting between meals. Exercise. I know you're saying, oh, Michelle, I just don't have time for exercise. And I'm here to tell you, you do have time for exercise. I encourage you to look into what's called high intensity training, where you are exercising in 5-minute spurts, what we call burst fitness also, where you are doing things like jumping jacks for about a minute, and then you slow down and you breathe for 2 minutes. And you repeat that for about 3 different cycles, which will last about 5 to 10 minutes. Do that in the morning when you wake up. Do that before each meal. And what that does is to start to reset your metabolic pattern to burn fat. I know that many of us were taught, oh, well, to burn fat, you've got to exercise for like 45 minutes before your body starts to actually burn fat. And while that may be true, for about 30 minutes, you're just burning carbohydrates, which is reinforcing that system of dependency upon carbohydrates. Whereas burst fitness or high intensity training is going to push your body into what we call fat burning mode. And not only are you going to be burning fat during those 5 to 10 minute spurts, you're also going to be able to sustain that fat burning modality for a significant amount of time after your sessions. Now comes the tough part. I want you to realize that you are beautiful the way you are. I want you to realize that we all struggle with some aspect of health and wellness. And I want you to realize that by loving yourself and accepting the fact that you are a divine being having a human experience, you are promoting your ability to lose weight. I know that sounds weird, doesn't it? I'm telling you that it is okay to fall off the horse, because in falling off the horse, you learn a little bit more about yourself. And I want you to accept those moments and say, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to do a little better tomorrow. And even if you don't do a little bit better tomorrow, you just say, you know what? I've learned a little bit about myself, and I'm just going to get right back up. A good fitness program is one that allows you flexibility to make mistakes, flexibility to learn about yourself, flexibility to fluctuate and to slip up every now and then, and to realize, most importantly, that it is okay. Because see, remember what I said? This is not a short-term program. This is about the rest of your life. And it is the tortoise that won the race, not the hare. It's not for those who are dashing out of the stockade, bursting with exuberance. Those people kind of fizzle out over time. It's not the people who engage in these overly restrictive programs of condemnation and say, no, 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 no. Those are the people who fall off and never come back. This pathway is about creating new lifestyles, new habits, and recognizing that we're not talking about a diet, we're not talking about a fad, we're talking about creating a new you. I'm here to tell you that there are so many things in our world that can fill you with inspiration. I encourage you to look around you, to walk outside, and to be inspired, to see your environment, and to seek out people in your environment that can support you and inspire you, that can help you to maintain your positivity. I encourage you to consider creating a space within your home environment that encourages you and inspires you. If you have to put little sticky notes up around the place, yay for you. Do whatever it takes. If you need to turn on some music from time to time to get you moving, to get you out of that funk, do it. If you need to call up a friend as your lifeline and say, hey, you know what? I'm having a not so good day. Do it. Always seek to create an environment that conspires for your success, that will inspire and motivate you. Now, I encourage you to come up with an action plan and to be a health detective. Be your own health detective. I always say, test, don't guess. If you have the ability to, go out and get yourself tested so that you're not flying blind. That is one of the ways to really start to hone in on what your individual needs are. And by doing so, you're able to set yourself up for success, because then you can tailor make your specific health and wellness program. And the other thing is for you to come up with an action plan. Not only do you want to assess what is happening within your person, you also want to think of a strategy of how you're going to get from A to Z. Perhaps you need to collaborate with someone. Perhaps you need to get some people to be your support team, your cheerleaders. Perhaps you need to sit down and really think about your schedule for the day. When are you going to go to sleep? When are you going to wake up? When are you going to eat your food? The most important thing here is those who fail to plan, plan to fail. I want to thank you for joining me in this presentation. I know that, as I said, sometimes it can be overwhelming because there's so many factors to consider, and you are a unique individual, and your needs are unique. Even though you may have 20 pounds that you want to lose like 50 other people in your neighborhood, I guarantee you that the way that is most conducive for you to lose those 20 pounds is going to be different from your neighbor. Why? Because, as I said, you are a unique individual. And that's why I want to encourage you to break free of these cookie cutter mentalities that says, oh, well, this is the diet plan for me, and I can't do this, I can't do that. How do you know? Part of the confusion of all of these diet plans is the reality that there's no one diet plan that is for all people. Indeed, there's no diet plan that is for any one person at all, because every single plan that is out there needs to be tweaked to the individual, needs to be honed in on the needs of the individual. I want you to honor your uniqueness and honor the fact that you deserve to be treated as an individual. You deserve a personalized program. And if this is something that is of interest to you, feel free to give me a call or to drop me an email, and or to visit our website to learn more about the programs that can help you on your journey. I thank you for joining me tonight, and I look forward to being able to communicate with you in more detail about what you can do to promote your health and wellness journey.